traffic trying to get here.
Well, you live in California. Traffic's always crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, especially when you need to be somewhere.
Yeah. This whiskey right here is from last night. I poured it, I started sipping on it, and then I got sleepy and I put it on my nightstand. Then I just went back in there. I was like, oh, that's still good. Just drink this from last night.
Hey, Tony, look, I'm going vodka tonight.
Oh, nice.
Have you ever had this? Froggy Bee vodka?
No.
I'm going to tell you. I don't know. I haven't had it. Let's. Hell yeah.
Tony, the Instagram stream failed.
Oh, it did?
What happened? We'll have to try that again. It said there was some SMTP error. I'm not sure what that exactly means.
Well, I watched Am I echoey? I'm echoey, huh?
You are.
Just a little bit.
Is that better?
No.
Is that better?
No. I'm just fucking with you. I don't know.
This is just our time to work out our little technical difficulties people getting. Oh, I have the after show link ready for our patrons.
How's it now? Is it better?
So they'll have to check yeah, it's a little better. They'll have to check their emails. It is getting better.
I had something so good planned for tonight, but it's just not happening.
Oh.
Like time, it'll have to wait till next week because I just did not have time to get done what I wanted done to bring to the table because you can't do it half-assed. So it has to wait.
It's all right. I commend you for Oh, what's up, Silver Ivy? It's our Silver Ivy social club right here. We got some peeps in the chat.
What is the thing? It's Silent Ivy.
What did I say? Silent Ivy.
Yeah, you said.
I know what it is.
You were talking about that strip club in Warren.
Yeah.
What?
I feel like I'm Will Marxist now. I'm facing over here a lot. I don't really like that. I rearranged my office. Everything feels weird, but Missy did an amazing job, and I mostly like it, but I just got to get used to it. Not used to it.
Are you doing the green screen thing again?
No.
Oh, God, no. He's
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh my God.
I don't. I gotta actually change that. I'm not doing anything.
Like that.
Oh, Zach doesn't have the link.
So
can't come hang out.
We got 2 minutes. Oh. Every fucking week he's gonna do this.
It's funny. It's just like the beach show.
It's
funny every time.
It's like if you redo a fart joke, they never get old, right?
No, never.
I was looking. Oh, here's what I was looking for: glasses cleaner for my glasses. Oh, okay. I'm like shaking it off. Let's jump in. Let's
Dennis.
do this.
Yeah, we got 1 minute to go. Dennis, just let you know, I put it in the comments, but the link to the after show will come at about 9 o'clock. So just be aware. I'll make sure that we say it on the show that it's going out.
But wait, isn't it? Are we
let's
sending
take a deep
it out?
breath, guys, before we go into
just for our Patreon.
Yes.
Just for Patreon members.
Yeah.
But he's asking for the email, so I'm pretty sure. I think he's one of our patrons. I'd have to double check the list.
I'm guessing Dennis is not. I think he just wants to get in and hang. And no, I don't know. I have no idea.
Jeremy, are you coming from your laptop?
Hello, Rebecca.
No, because I have not. So I can't transfer everything over like how it goes with Apple. Because I have a virus on this computer, so it'll send the virus over. So I have to do it item by item.
Did Does Apple get a virus? I didn't know that they had God virus.
Ha! I found a way.
Well, mine, Brandon has. I had to buy a new computer after that shit show last week.
I have his old one right here.
Yeah, but I got a new one too, Brandon. And so, next week I'll look even clearer and prettier, or worse.
I'm excited about that. I got Tony's computer fixed in about 2 hours. So he went and spent money and gave me a free computer, and I fixed it in 2 hours. He should have let me see if I could fix it before he went.
Well,
it didn't work for what I needed it to work. It wouldn't like run Illustrator and stuff like that.
Yeah, and Brandon, mine's from 2012. So there isn't a matter of it like updating. It wouldn't support any of the new apps. It wouldn't even like open them anymore. So that any of the like Apple things, so it was like super, super sluggish. And anyhow, that's why I did what I did.
Well, on that note, guys, we're at 8:01. Let's
do this.
What happened to Jeremy? You're spinning.
What do you mean? I'm not spinning. I'm in one place.
Oh, you disappeared for a second.
Oh, you keep disappearing. I know. 4 shots. Can we just keep...
Such a better intro.
What you did? That's insulting.
No, I'm not saying I didn't like the old one, Jared. I'm saying this one is.
It makes me want to dance. That's for sure. In fact, I was dancing.
Oh, let's do a shot. Welcome back to 4 Shots.
Yeah, welcome everyone. I'm mixing it up today.
You're coming over to my side.
Yeah, well, the thing is like vodka is so cheap.
I know.
And so I figured I would try this out. And I actually did pick up a bottle of that guy, the thing we were talking about, just to try it. And I have not tried it yet.
Stuff coming.
Yeah, but I have. I wanted to because I was intrigued, and I'm excited to try it, which I probably will later. Let's do a shot, my friend.
Yes.
Cheers. We don't have the shot.
Shot number 1.
Number 1.
Okay, so can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay.
Hey, everybody.
I'm not as echoey in my head today as I usually am. I think the volume's down or something. Anyway.
No, you got it. You got a good volume.
So we have a cool show today. Some cool guys. In addition to that, we have successfully launched our Patreon, which we thought we were. Last week was a complete shit show. My computer blew up. We thought we were going to do this huge Patreon launch, right? That didn't happen. But we finally got it all figured out. Our first 7 packages are going out today for our Silent Ivy Social Club members. So check it out if you can. It's patreon.com/4shots. Brandon, can you bring it up real quick? Maybe.
Or not.
There it goes. So like I said, patreon.com/4shots. And there's a lot of stuff, but basically if you go, where he's on the creator page, this was supposed to go to Patreon. There we go. No, never mind. Forget it. You can look at the tiers on there, and there's a bunch of cool stuff. And go to Oh, good print. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, there we go.
So it starts at $5 and it goes up to 50. The $50 one is pretty awesome.
It's done.
We sold out like the day it came out, and the Lido Club we're down to 8 of 10. But it helps us out. We're not in this to make money. We're just here to exist. So we're trying to just the cost of us doing like the StreamYard costs and the cost of the microphones and headphones. And we both had to buy new computers. So,
yeah.
But anyway, also don't forget to follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and tomorrow you could download us on your favorite streaming platform.
And if you are watching us right now, please share it so we can continue to grow and take over the world.
Agreed.
One shot at a time.
One shot at a time.
One shot. 2 shots.
So now's the part of the show before we get our guests on where we do the worst of the week. So the worst of the week is a segment where Brandon, we have no idea what this is, but Brandon gives us 4 or 5 stories to choose from for the week. And then we have to, me and you vote on the worst of the week. And if we can't decide, then we bring it to the fans to decide for us. So Brandon, if you'd like to start the worst of the week.
Work on a newspaper is people working as a team. At the copy desk, the editor selects the news and photos for an issue and plans the estimated space on a miniature newspaper page, sometimes called a dummy.
What is up? What is up? Guys, let's try to make it through this segment without losing Tony this week.
Right. You know what's awesome about Joe Sharmer's comment? That he said like in the intro, I sound like John Doe. So Joe, you will appreciate this. The neighbor in California to our warehouse that Caldwell and Down and Back is holding, our neighbor is Billy Zoom. So the guitarist of X. And so I've had countless conversations, and they filmed their last music video there. So I did not get to meet John Doe, but him and I forget the female vocalist that made XX were both there, and I got to see them, and I was like, oh yeah, they're listening to my band play. So it's been kind of fun that he is my neighbor, and we talk often.
Will Marxus has already given us the mad face.
What about what? What is he mad about now?
I don't know.
Jesus, I'm about to ban him. Where he's going to be the only social club member who is banned, the only Patreon member who's banned from watching the show live. Well, let's get into it, guys. We have some very interesting stories.
I'm in the mood for another shot.
You want to hit a shot first?
Let's do it.
All right.
I want to do one. I'm in the mood.
Drink your glass from yesterday, Brandon.
I actually already did that because I was nervous before the show. So I finished off that. I was nervous after last week. If anybody who was watching live last week, there's only about 9 of you. But I was very stressed when we lost Tony, and I was talking a lot out of that stress. So I was nervous tonight. Let's do another shot. Here we go.
Happy belated birthday to Jennifer.
Cheers, Jennifer.
And get well soon.
Shot number 2.
Every time we take a shot, I'm going to do this.
You're just going to freeze?
Just kidding.
So you freak me out? just do it to cause me stress. I think Will Marxus would enjoy that. Let's get to our first story. We have some very interesting stories from around the world for worst of the week. The first is an animal who had a pretty bad week. He went viral. There was a sheep who was saved from 77 pounds of matted fleece. Let's take a look. That's not a very good picture. Okay, here he is. Poor guy. He is struggling. The sheep needed to be shorn at least annually.
I like how his name is Barack.
Yeah,
his name is Barack.
I saw.
Hey,
yes,
look, before he was trimmed, we kind of look like doppelgangers.
You are very close to that sheep. And all
I just need to make a stern face like this.
Yeah,
Like-
it's identical.
There you go.
It's very close. I don't know if he looks angrier here, or he looks pretty pissed, right?
Well, he's fucking freezing. He's got to be
looks like-
freezing.
He looks like when a dude with long hair, they shave their head and they automatically look like a skinhead. Like he looks like he got into a gang, like he served some time. And while he was in there, he had to choose sides on how he was going to like this is survival. And he chose his side.
So I actually saw this and I was reading about it. I'm like, why this happened to this sheep? And did you know that it's because we've like genetically or like reverse Darwinism them, I guess you would call it. So like so like how cows were real skinny and then we were killing off we were like going the backwards way, so the fatter cows were living and the skin you kind of make the cow from a bull over a period of time because we're humans. Well, the same thing has happened with the sheep in that we're like breeding the sheep that have the most hair, and then this sheep ends up coming out with all this fur, which is insane to me.
It is, because my question was going to be tonight after I saw this story is I was going to ask, like, what do wild sheep do? They don't have anybody to shear them. Like, are there wild sheep? What happens to them? I don't know.
Well, like the
That's
ones,
pretty
yeah,
crazy.
the ones, because when I was in New Zealand, I watched them. I went to a sheep farm. I actually ate sheep testicles, believe it or not, right fresh off the sheep.
I bet you did.
I did. It was my. It was my like.
Were they still attached?
Maybe.
Oh my god!
But I learned. I have a breadth of knowledge on sheep. So if you ever need anything sheep related, let me know, and I'll just send it to patreon.com/4shots. I'll answer all your sheep questions.
All your sheep testicle related questions will be answered by Tony Bellato. Let's go to our next story. Those of you, do you guys remember the thong song? Did you sing it when you were young men?
I almost got a sun tattooed
Cisco.
around my belly button.
Okay, I was thinking
God,
of the
I wish
wrong
you
rapper, and I'm praying that Will Marxist doesn't cancel me because I thought of the wrong rapper. I was thinking of the rapper Nelly is who I was thinking of.
No, I met
what's the
Nelly.
song that he's famous for? You
Hot
did.
Here.
Quite a few of them.
Hot in here.
It's hot in
so
here.
hot
Getting
here.
hot in here, so hot, so take all your clothes.
Well, it's getting very hot in here because he listed on Zillow his $600,000 mansion in St. Louis that is unfortunately going abandoned. It is not listed at what he bought it for at the time, but he had planned to flip this mansion and make a profit, but the project was never finished. And he's ended up having to list this unfinished remodeled mansion in St. Louis at 600. Well, that's a rough picture. $600,000. So for 600 grand, Will Marxist, I heard you've got big time money. Maybe you want to move to St. Louis, get yourself Nelly's mansion.
That should be the 4shots compound.
Can we get a few more Patreon subscribers? We'll buy this.
Look.
And you can all hang out with us.
Oh my God! Look, there he is. It's him right there. That's fucking crazy.
There's Nelly.
Oh my God! I think that it would be pretty amazing. Here's a whole list of pictures. He's having definitely a candidate for worst of the week when you've lost millions potentially on this kind of a thing. I mean, you got plywood floors, unfinished everything, but it definitely seems like we could put it as a stretch goal on our Patreon that if we get enough subscribers, we could buy Nelly's mansion.
I'm in. Let's do it.
Ooh,
Yep.
Look at that. That could be us, but everybody's playing around and won't subscribe to our Patreon. All right, let's go. Number 3 is another animal related worst of the week. Nothing bad has happened. I just happened to click on it earlier this week. Oh my God. He's coming to Ohio to take over. I'm sorry, Will Marxist. I apologize. Please do not cancel me. I want to warn our audience that this may shock and terrify them. A bizarre sea penis gets a rise out of social media. This photo and story went viral. It went viral this week when an Australian free diver on social media posted this picture of it's like a sea cucumber worm animal that they just looked absolutely disgusting. Dear God. There's a picture of kind of like many of them. There's the diver that found it, and there's it holding in the hands. I cannot explain how this is an actual sea creature.
That's amazing. I'm just thousands of penis fish. Yeah.
It is insane. Like, I don't know how I would feel if I was free diving, snorkeling around, and I just came across this guy right here. It would absolutely fucking terrify me.
I'm sure you have plenty of times.
React.
That's because I swim in the nude. Not. I swim in the nude, and my penis fish is out there.
All right, we got to do a shot. Tony got a penis joke in. He got a.
I'm taking.
He got a baby blotto joke in.
So far that is the worst of the week. The sea penises. Cheers.
You didn't.
All right, let's do a shot.
Shot number 3.
I was so hairless then. Cheers. Oh, Jeremy's doing a thing.
Yeah, sorry, just
trying to mess with me. All right, let's do our last worst of the week and wrap up this segment, guys. The last worst of the week. This one's going to take just a tiny bit more explanation because it's just a tweet that I found earlier this week, and as you can see in the numbers down here, has gone quite viral. A woman was antiquing and thought she found a really sweet series of letters from the World War II era. You can kind of make out the date. I found it earlier. I believe it says 1946, but it was kind of covered up. So she opens up these letters. They had not been delivered. And this is just an excerpt of what she found. Let's read this. And Tom keeps shoving me deeper at every move. And we were soon tired, and spending made me about half conscious, and it scared them. We were too tired to continue, so we called it a day. Harry slept with me that night, but I denied him the pleasure. It was a thrill to lay there and play with each other. Since then, I have been fucked standing up, sitting down, sideways, in the armpits, between the tits, etc. Well, this letter is now too long, so I must close. The night before I leave for home, Tom is coming over to see us for a final match. We are going to try double fucking again. We'll see you soon. Your well-fucked girlfriend, Anne.
What? I have so many questions about this.
This is like a 1946 letter from
sexting from 1940.
Yeah.
It is sexting from the 1940s.
I didn't know
do you think we could trace down Anne and see if she'll come on our show? Get it?
Oh my gosh. This I could not help but read this because I mean this just blows my mind that this kind of steamy letters and activity happening in the 1940s. I mean, I guess people have never changed.
I think that in the 1940s, I'm pretty sure 1940s armpits were a really big thing sexually.
I think so too.
You guys know you're going to want to try that sometime. Be like, honey, can I stick it in your armpit?
Hey, buddy, you're way behind.
All right, so guys, let's cover it. Let's pick who had the worst of the week. Was it our 77-pound sheep? Was it Nelly and his $600,000 mansion and the millions that he's lost? Was it the bizarre coming across of the sea penises? Or was it the man in 1946 who got the crazy Dear John letter from his well-fucked girlfriend, Anne?
Sea penis.
I'm going to go with, if we're talking about worst, I mean, so what? You see a sea penis in the ocean. Just, it's another penis. Everyone's seen a penis. I'm going to go with Nelly. That's an unfortunate loss.
All right, so
one of my best friends lives in St. Louis, and he would agree with me. Like, if you're going to buy a house like that, you already off the bat might not want to buy it in St. Louis, even if you're from there. So already initially a bad real estate decision.
I like Logan's comment. He said, "Ann had the best of the week." Back.
Yeah,
50,
no, I mean,
50
I
years
read that one, and honestly, the sea penis was found. He had a really good week.
He did.
Yes. So let's let the chat decide. Post your decision in the chat now if you are listening along live. Tony says C penis is the worst. Jeremy believes that Nelly had the worst of the week. I'm going to duck out for now, you guys, while we introduce our guests for this week.
Well, Jeremy, this was your find.
Yes.
Guest of the week. So why don't you do the honors of the introduction?
So we are bringing on our first guest to return on the show, not as a little blip, but Josh Stump, owner, operator of Smokers Abbey, Nashville. And with him, we have a new friend, Charles Robinson, who owns Atsiki Cigars. And I hope I said that right, my brother. But, man, we're excited to hear about him and what he's doing and with the line and all that kind of stuff. So welcome to the show.
What's happening, guys?
Hello.
Charles, did I say the brand name wrong? Please correct me.
You were close.
Okay. How can you tell us how I should say it then?
Yes. At Saniki.
Saniki. At Saniki. Okay.
Where are you guys?
We're going to get into obviously all that good stuff about that. But
Are
you guys look.
having beverages?
Yeah.
What's that?
Are you guys having beverages?
Yes.
So cheers. Welcome to the show.
Cheers. Thank you.
Good God, we're going for it today.
I know.
We didn't have a shot thing, but that's okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
Shot number 4.
So, Charles, we asked this of all of our guests on their first time on the show. What is the cigar, or what is the almost experience that you had that got you into cigars, that got you excited about them, the lifestyle, the culture? Could be mine was my dad growing up. Jeremy has his story, but we wanted to hear your story on how you got into the cigar business and the passion for it.
Well, the passion for it really started with some friends back in Chicago. And I used to go visit my buddy, he's a guy I grew up with. And so what we would do is just hang out and, have drinks. And one of the guys we hang out with also had gone to culinary school, so he really prepared some great meals. And just hanging out. And after dinner, we'd always finish up with cigars. And it just got to be more of just a relational comrade type thing, hanging out, something to do. And just little by little, I began to experiment and try some different ones that I liked. And just kind of started from there, really. As far as with the industry, it happened when I went to Nicaragua with a buddy of mine who owns a factory over there. And after smoking, 6, 8, 10 cigars a day for 4 or 5 days in a row and lots of Cuban rum along with it, you kind of learn to find out what you like. And it was just kind of really more than anything, I'd say, was just smoking cigars with friends.
Awesome.
So, Charles, what's interesting, this is our first interaction, but, Josh and I were talking life, love, liberty, religion, all of the good stuff. And you would come up in that conversation between he and I. And what's interesting is that, so I'm reading the book, and from this book, I'm reading, I don't know if you have read this book or not, but basically it's not to get into the dark aspect of it, but it's the basically America history told from the perspective of Native Americans. And one of the things obviously there's a lot of darkness in there, but what I think is super cool is it was talking about how historically they weren't necessarily jotted down, you know, timelines and traditions and such in the way of like accounting, like, you know, you have history books or the Bible that talks about it, or the Quran and these different things, but that they were told through stories, right? And over the years, you know, like that was the way it was passed down from generation to generation through stories. And I thought, like, that's such a cool and kind of special way of, like, you know, talking about how we got to where we were, because that's what we all do, right? With our friends, our family, our grandkids, whatever it might be. And so what I was kind of hoping is maybe you could share kind of, rather than like an interview in the traditional sense of asking you questions, is just kind of like, what's your story? What, like, you know, this line, what's it mean? What, you know, and we could kind of all converse about, you know, the story, so to speak.
Yeah. I appreciate that. So when so the name Atsaniki is my name and my wife's Blackfoot language. I'm from the Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma. My wife is Blackfoot and Lakota. And the name Atsaniki was given to me in ceremony, which means storyteller. And so when we started the cigar brand, it was the focus was so that the proceeds of the cigars can go to fund a nonprofit organization that my wife runs called the Red Road, where we do ministry and humanitarian type work on Native American reservations. And so the proceeds of Atsaniki Cigars goes to fund that. And because of Atsaniki and what it means, storytelling, for me, that's kind of what we do. We all have a story to tell. We all have something that makes us unique. And so we kind of focused on that is really what we're about, is just telling stories, whether we're hanging out with three guys on a podcast like this, or if I'm, sitting in the backyard around a fire pit with a few guys having cigars. We're just doing that. We're engaging. We're becoming a part of each other's lives through storytelling. And specifically with these three cigars, we have three in our line, and we've named them after three of our 7 children. And so like the one I'm smoking now is the Tushke, which means warrior, which is the name of my youngest son. We have another one called the Emaya, which means victory, one of my daughters, and another one called the Nanaya, which means peace or reconciliation, all in my Choctaw language. So because for untold, thousands and thousands of years, that's how our Native people communicated with each other, was just through stories. We didn't have books to write things down and pass things on. So if it wasn't passed on orally, it was forgotten. And so storytelling has been a big part of our culture, of all of our Native or indigenous people's cultures. But more specifically, the usage of tobacco in our culture.
That's what I was gonna say. To tobacco, yeah.
Yeah. So you think about long ago, many times when our tribal people might meet in their travels, one of the first things we might do is meet together and share a pipe, where you put tobacco in the pipe and you share a pipe and you pass it around. And that is symbolic of sharing in the same breath. In other words, at the end of the day, I may not understand or agree with what you have to say, but I'm giving you the respect of sharing in the same breath, hearing you out, you hearing me out. And at the end of the day, walking away, at least having an understanding of each other. So like the motto of Atsaniki Cigars is discover common ground, which is kind of what we hope to do anytime we get together with people who may be politically different, ethnically different, culturally different, whatever it might be. It's trying to discover common ground with each other.
That's a great message. I think that's like now more important than ever, is to try to find that, as polar as people seem to be, and whatever ideas or thoughts that they have, and they are their own ideas, but to find that common ground, I think, is crucial for progress. Because if everybody's fighting all the time and arguing then we're never going to get anywhere. But if we can find something, and I think that's what's great about cigars, and we talked about it before, I think that's something that can bring us all together to kind of say, okay, that we're open for discussion. We share this thing. As long as nobody swears or throws shit, then we're going to be okay. And I think that that's very important, and that's something that I think is very respectable.
Josh, how did Charles come in to your life in the aspect that, and then like, because, our conversation, you were like, oh my gosh, you got to meet my friend Charles, and and he has this line and stuff. But I know Smokers Abbey is a big advocate for Charles's lines. And so like, how is that incorporated into like it's not another cigar on the shelf, right? Like you obviously have a personal connection to it. So maybe I can hear your perspective on it.
Yeah, well, I think the very first time I heard about Charles was I wasn't in the shop. He came by and somebody said, "Oh, there's a guy out here at Franklin who's got a new cigar brand," and I was like, "Gross, who cares?"
Oh, I've seen that face.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
We've all seen it.
yeah, so I was like, "Oh, okay, whatever." And honestly, the cigars just kind of sat, over here by the register for a few days. And then I got a call from my friend Grant Batson, who's, the pipe maker and a master craftsman who made our bar and everything. He's a good friend. Very,
Well, that was unpleasant.
Oh boy.
So I came in as the producer to say that is coming from Joshua's line, and I don't know what's causing that, but if I unmute Josh, let's see.
No, it's okay. We got it fixed now.
Okay, he's good.
Okay.
We got it fixed.
Okay. All right. Just wanted to come in for a second. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I think his iPad was feeding into my computer here. Cable fell out. Anyway, so my friend Grant called and said, "Hey, there's a guy that I really want you to meet because you guys are of kindred spirits." And he told me about this guy that makes the cigars and blah, blah, blah. So I was like, okay, well, somebody else told me to stop by the shop, so I'll come and check it out. So in the meantime, I smoked the cigar. And so the cigar was phenomenal. Like, it was absolutely phenomenal. So I was like, nobody locally is like just on their own without major money backing and support putting out product that was this good. So at that point I was intrigued. As soon as me and Charles hung out, we were kindred spirits, and I always introduce him to other friends as saying one of my favorite people on earth. Like, he's just the real deal, super quality human being. And for me, character goes, sometimes I'll buy bad cigars if I like the person, but I got great cigars and a great friendship out of it. I mean, Charles is a quality individual, and he knows lots of people. He's connected very well. I always say that he's got grace all over him, and I think it's just because he's a decent human. But that's my 5 cents.
Nice.
You're all right, Charles.
Well,
Were you guys on the same couch? Sitting
Yeah, we're
next
on
to each
the
other?
same couch. Yeah.
That's adorable.
That's
You guys
cozy.
really.
We were gonna make it easy and share a computer, but our little headphones didn't work, and so we needed the mic. So now we've sorted it out.
Well, I think a shot's in order.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Shot number 5.
Cheers. Oh, Jeremy's doing a thing again. So we have a couple questions that have come up in our comments. So the first question is, can they buy Charles cigars from Smokers Abbey?
Yes.
Is that possible?
Yeah, look here.
He lives in Colorado. Okay, Smokers Abbey.
Rebecca's taking it from all you guys.
Rebecca does this to us.
She's like, buy it from me.
Listen, Rebecca never taught me how to use the website that she built. So yes, you buy it on a website. You can buy it from Austin or Memphis, and you can call me up, and I'll kiss the boxes as put in the mailbox.
The next question is Arizona. Do you have anybody in Arizona that sells the cigar yet? Not yet. Well, we will change that.
Jennifer will get you hooked up.
Mark my word.
Well, it's interesting. I thought about it too late. I called Nate the other day, and I was like, yo, I'd like to get some of Charles' cigars. Like, can we purchase them? But I called him on like Friday night. I'm like, can you send them to Tony and I? And he was like, there's no way we're getting them to you by like Tuesday, even if you overnight them. And I was like, and then he passed me your number, Charles. But I was like, one thing led to another, and we didn't, because we were like, oh, it'd be fun, obviously, to try. Like, I'd love to try. And obviously, like, we like to support friends in this industry, not just because of this show, but because we're cigar smokers, and anyone, like, definitely being kind of a micro boutique brand. I thought it was cool to have you on here because at least 11 more people are getting
12 right now.
12 are getting to hear your story. The cool thing, Charles, though, is on the Aftermath, we ended up getting quite a few views on a weekly basis, and hopefully we can bring a little more attention to your line and continue to support you in whatever way we can. So I don't know if you're trying to keep distribution super local or if you're trying to grow it, but in any way that we can help you, you got Tony and I now, and you already had Josh in your corner. So any way we can help, we're happy to do so. And obviously some of our Jennifer works at a store, Big Sticks in Mesa. And Paul's a phenomenal dude, the owner of that store. So, hopefully we can kind of help share the story a little bit. I had a question that's kind of an oddball question for you. So I have a very good friend, and I may or may not have shared this on the show before. So if I have, I apologize. But he is... for years, this story he told me fascinated me. So I don't remember the tribe he's from, right? He's the leading he just since retired, but he's the leading specialist of infectious disease in Southern California. But he was raised on a reservation, and he started, like, he does a lot of work with the reservations for medical care and stuff. He'll go out with people that don't have health care and such to the reservations. But one night we were sitting, I used to work in a retail shop, so that'll give the context to this. And we were talking, he was telling me his story. And he started talking to me about how his grandfather or great-grandfather kind of jumped off a cliff at the end of his life and turned into an eagle. And when he told me this, I was like, okay, this is odd, because like you have a guy who's very, very trained in Western medicine and way of thinking, but also has spent the majority of his life on a reservation. And I started thinking about it because it was hard for me to come to terms, because I'm like, he's not joking. Like, this is his reality. And he's not a crazy dude. The guy is one of the most brilliant guys and educated and just like neat people to talk to. And it started making me think and just like kind of what if that actually is, like, who am I to say what can and cannot happen, what this and that? But even more so to me, the concept of the story of what he was sharing with me was so powerful because of him like talking about like going into like, you know, the afterlife or to what that would be for him. And I was fascinated by it. And my mind has a hard time grasping the thought of like shape shifting. And I'm not asking you if that's a real or not a real thing, because it's real for this dude. And it's, you know, but my question is more so like, it's the perception of the world that you see from that angle that's so different from the westernized, you know, train of thought. And I was wondering how you kind of like, or how you see your heritage and where you were brought up combined with kind of obviously living in Nashville. I don't know if you live in Nashville, but I'm imagining since you're hanging out, you're near there. Just like how do you meld them together? They're such different worlds.
Okay.
Hold on one second. There we go.
Yeah. Well, I'm you know, to be completely candid about it, I'm a follower of the teachings of Jesus. That's the path I walk. And at the same time, I don't have a right to. I believe I do not have a right to tell somebody else's story or correct somebody else's story on what is maybe very real to them. So, and we do work on lots of reservations. In fact, we're up in the Hopi Reservation and Navajo reservations in Arizona every summer. And we walk with people through this organization. We walk through people with their addictions, their suicides, the struggles, the dysfunction that exists on our reservations. And as you engage and become a part of people's lives, they open up and they share experiences that may contradict what we see as the Euro-American experience, right? It doesn't make sense. But who am I to tell them their personal experience is wrong? And so I tend to accept people and what they say at face value and try not to the best I can, try not to tell them they're wrong, just to accept what they have to say about their personal life experience. And as I read the Bible and I hear about these stories that, again, on the surface seem really extreme, you know, about talking to a burning bush or somebody being raised from the dead, some of these things, in today's world, we look and say, man, that's crazy. There's no way that could have actually happened. But I'm not going to, while I may question it in my own mind, I'm not going to challenge somebody and say, no way that didn't happen to you. Whether it be somebody jumping off a cliff and turning into an eagle, or somebody, you know, in the Bible, it talks about studying the animals or the birds of the air or the ants. One of my favorite verses is in the book of Proverbs. It says, go to the ant, you sluggard, study its ways and be wise. And I'm like, yeah, okay. You can learn something from ants, right? All of these stories, I'm not going to sit there and question whether or not it actually happened to somebody. I want to accept it because for whatever it is, it's very real to them. And by calling somebody out on something that's very real to them, that's not discovering common ground. That's not developing relationships, right? That's building walls. That's putting a divide between them and I. And that's not what I want. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I have a couple questions about tobacco to kind of move in a different direction. So with your cigars, are you using Nicaraguan tobacco, Honduran tobacco, American tobacco? Where are you at with the usage of tobacco in the cigars?
So most of the tobacco is Nicaraguan. They're all rolled down in Esteli. The Tushke cigar I'm smoking has a San Andreas wrapper on it, which is out of Mexico. We have a Connecticut wrapper on our Nanaya that comes out of Honduras, but everything else is out of Nicaragua.
It's funny because, you know, there's this kind of, and I think it's pretty faux pas now, but the Native American cigar store guy, right? So, I mean, how do you feel about that? And how do you feel about like this stigma of the Native Americans and tobacco being sort of exploited by everybody else? If that isn't too hard of a question.
No, it's great. And thank you for asking that, because a lot of people just gloss right over that for fear of insulting or whatever, or being canceled or whatever, right? Honestly, I embrace it. I embrace it because of the history of the cigar store Indian, and you guys may have covered this in one of your podcasts. Is back east when in Massachusetts and all these places back in the Northeast, when the shipbuilding, when the shipbuilders, had those big ornamental things on the front of their ships. When the ship making began to decline, these woodworkers had to have some type of work to do. And what they would do, and you guys may know this, is they begin to make different wooden figures that some of which would sit in front of shops to tell what kind of store it was in town, because so many people were illiterate, they could not read or write. And so because of the Native American sacredness and respect for tobacco, they began using these cigar store Indians, is what we call them now, in front of the tobacco shops. And many times, though, the headdresses on these cigar store Indians were not eagle feathers, which is what we wear in our headdresses now, but instead it was tobacco leaves. And so the connection between the Native Americans and the sacredness of the tobacco is something I continue to embrace. So I don't find it offensive at all. I know there are some people that do, but I don't find that offensive at all.
Like, for example,
good.
sorry, Jeremy, real quick.
Yeah,
For
yeah.
example, I went to Miami of Ohio to college.
Yeah.
And they changed, which I think was very good. It was the Miami Redskins for a long time, forever. And they changed that to the Miami Red Hawks. And there was a big Native American statue in the middle of campus they took down. So I think the name change was appropriate, but I think the heritage aspect of what, because I'm in Ohio, so we have a lot of Native American influence. I think that the taking down of the statue was a bad thing. I don't know how you feel about that.
Well, I think there's a way to maintain some of those things like statues and imagery that still respects the Native people. What I've encouraged people to do is, rather than whether it be a high school mascot or a Atlanta Braves, Cleveland Indians, whatever, rather than just get rid of the mascot, I've always encouraged people to go to the tribes that were traditionally in those areas, work with those tribes, because legally we're considered semi-sovereign nations, right? And so as a separate nation, we'd never go to France and say, hey, you guys, you shouldn't do this. You guys shouldn't wear berets anymore. You shouldn't do this. You shouldn't do that. As a nation, they have a right to do what they want to do. As Native people, I would suggest we go to the tribal people that were traditionally in these lands, work with them to say, hey, we'd like to continue to use your representation or your imagery. How can we do that in a respectful manner, in a way that honors you, and even work out some type of financial way to give back to the Native communities, to help with education, to help with mental health issues, to help with addictions, to help with these things. Find a way, since like with the Washington Redskins, they made so much money off the Redskin imagery and the name. Find a way to give back to Native communities because they made so much money off the imagery. Let's just find a way to give back and to share and to grow in community.
Common ground. That's kind of our thing.
Yeah.
Charles, my question was, you touched on the tobacco being sacred to Native Americans. Can you explain why that is, or what that is? What's the bond?
So many times, many of our tribal people have always used tobacco, smoking it mainly in pipes. And so it's often used as a trade gift. As you meet somebody, you're asking somebody of something that you would give tobacco to them. If I go to an elder asking an elder to come be a part of a sweat lodge or a ceremony, I will present them tobacco as a gift, right? So it has a physical value, but also as you smoke it and the smoke goes up in the air and dissipates into the air during a time of prayer, as if our prayers are going up to the Creator. It's going in all directions, right? And so it has both a physical value and a spiritual value, and that it dissipates into the air. And it's that way in many of our native communities. In the United States today, we have 573 different federally recognized tribes, about 300 tribal languages still spoken. And so each one of them are going to be a little different. But one of the common threads running through many of our tribal traditions and ceremonies is tobacco.
What's funny to kind of comment in there is, so like our tradition as manufacturers, right, is to give a cigar when you walk into a cigar store. Like it's almost disrespectful, right, guys, to not provide somebody with cigars when you walked in.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great parallel. And I think on the flip side, we have a lot of traditions in the industry now that relate to what you were saying that I think are very important. And I think that are very crucial to the survival of the business to keep it going and going and going for so many years. But, like an adaptation here and there is very crucial. And I've met, there's a guy in upstate New York that we do business with, and he has a Native American reservation, and he talked about how important it was for them with tobacco. And it wasn't like a stereotypical thing. It was, the tobacco is still very important. They make their own cigarettes, they make their own cigars, everything. And I think that that's very crucial to the survival of what we think is the cigar business.
Yeah.
But I think that's very important what you said in that tradition originally now translates to 2020.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
And this is a comment and a question towards Josh, but and
Tony and Jeremy, stop messing around. It's time for you both to take a shot.
Wait a minute, that was Oscar award-winning actor Eric Roberts.
Well, you got to give them what they're asking for, and then we'll continue on.
Yeah, I guess so.
All right.
Shot number 6.
Cheers.
I'm not even going to freeze this time.
Wow, Eric Roberts.
That's amazing.
I love when he calls into the show.
Amazing. I know, and he's like messing around here. But all right, so here we go. What I find really interesting with what you said, Charles, and what Tony just reiterated, is something that I don't think we ever really talk about in our industry. And that's like, we always get looked at, it's a lifestyle, it's high society, but rarely does it ever get looked at as a spiritual thing, smoking a cigar, and what that causes. And the thing is the most monumental moments in my life have always been around this. Not this itself, but what this has created and afforded me the opportunity. This has now given me the ability to know you, Charles. This gave me the ability to know Tony. This gave me the ability to know Josh. And I have conversations behind the scenes, because there's friendships and relationships that have been evolved. And a lot of time, whether it's both guys in this room, Tony and Josh, we have had spiritual conversations, because when you end up talking with someone, you end up going down the rabbit hole, and it always ends in certain categories, right? Who we are as people, how we connect with one another, how we view the world, which always comes back to spirituality.
Yeah.
And what I find so interesting, and one of the things I fell in love with cigars, I was an avid cigar smoker. I enjoyed them. I enjoyed the camaraderie. I had gone through a hard period of time in my life. During that time, I moved in with a friend. And when the whole world was essentially like I was an outcast to the world, there was a connection, and every single night, this guy and I sat there, good, bad, and ugly, and smoked a cigar and drank ourselves into oblivion while I was dealing with what I was dealing with.
Yeah.
But it's not that the leaves rolled together in itself make it a spiritual thing, but it's because of that connection. And when you were explaining the smoke dissipating into the air and the whole concept behind it, it just reminds me of like why when I fell in love with cigars, but for an entirely different, like I didn't care about the lifestyle of cigars anymore. I cared about what it gave me by smoking with someone, you know. And so Josh, or any of you want to comment and just kind of expound?
And because it helps create moments, right? It the moment it creates to engage or to be present, because as you know, in today's world, social media and devices, all these things, man, our minds are going a million places. And and I found this, when I sit back with cigars, or my wife and I, we'll go in the backyard, and she loves cigars, so we'll sit out there and hang out, and it just creates moments to engage and to be real and to be very, very present at that moment.
That's awesome. So we're getting ready to wrap up. And Josh, you have anything for us?
Well, I was just going to say there's only 3 types of cigars in the world. There's cigars that you remember because they're terrible. There's cigars that just are cigars. Then there's cigars you remember because they're great. So I got into this business because of the relationships. And hopefully I don't smoke too many cigars I remember because they suck. I remember Charles because they were great, but I remember the relationship. So it always breaks my heart to see a bunch of guys that are coming into the shop and they sit in the corner by themselves and they don't engage with relationships. So that's part of what we do at the Abbey, is we help people engage in relationship, because everybody needs relationships. That's what's so important. So although Charles makes good cigars, he could quit making cigars tomorrow, and it's not going to change the fact that I have a great relationship with him. So I just concur with everything you guys are saying.
Well, ultimately, to end this, you know, we're not in this business to make money, because clearly we're not, right? We're in this business because we love it, and we're passionate about it. And I think to close this show, we should do a shot. But before we do that, I really, really want you guys to check out Smokers Abbey, and that's in Inky Cigars. And I said it right that time, right, Charles? Yes.
Yes.
So I check these guys out. If you guys want the cigars, go to Smokers Abbey and get them quickly, because they're probably going to sell out.
Yeah.
Hey, check out this booze. Check out this booze.
What do you got?
What is that? Old Elk. Is that tasty?
Very. Oh, we got to unmute Charles. He'll tell you about it. I didn't hear about it till tonight. He brought this just for tonight.
Josh,
gentlemen,
is it as good as Clyde made?
Dude, I've bought and sold a bunch of Clyde made because of you.
I know. I should get endorsed by them for the amount that I drink alone of their stuff.
Send out that letter that Brandon sent you.
Right? Yeah, the one that's still in the mail.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe it'll show up on a Twitter feed 10 years from now and go viral, because it's an actual love letter of how we were intimate with each other and something like that. But yeah, let's do a shot, and then let's talk about how to find each other and all that stuff to make sure we get to promote everyone in the right way.
Absolutely.
Yo, power to the people.
Shot number 7.
Fucking Will Marxist.
You know we haven't made it until we get to his bumper.
I know.
So, Josh, let's start with you because I'm looking at a clockwise thing and you're right in the area. So how do people find you or the other Abbeys, whatever you want to promote? There you go.
Yeah, smokersabbey.com. You'll go there and you'll see the Austin store at first because it starts with an A. And but Nashville's the OG, right, Rebecca? But yeah, that's the best way. Check out the website.
And Charles, personal, your company, what can we do? How do we find you, and what can we do to continue to support your endeavor?
Thank you. You can go to @Sanikicigars.com and drop me a message there, or we're also on Instagram, and be happy to, if you're a shop out there, I'd love to send you some samples, and if you like it, then we can talk after that. If you don't like it, it's not worth bringing it in, but if you like it, that's the first step, and check that out. And the organization my wife has is called theredroad.org. And it just kind of describes the work that her organization does on Native American reservations throughout the U.S. and Canada. I'd love to help out any way we can.
We've posted it up on our Facebook and our YouTube and our Twitch, and we're going to put it on our Patreon as well.
Thank you.
My pleasure. It was great having you on. That was awesome. Thank you.
No, I mean,
I wish we didn't only have an hour. You know?
I feel like we could go a ton of different directions for another 3 hours because we could, and it's like trying to condense down something that really shouldn't be condensed, but at least we got kind of a glimpse in with your story and like what you're about. And I'm super stoked to have you on this, and now to call you a pal.
Thank you so much, Jeremy.
You'll see me out in Nashville before too long.
I agree. I'll be down there. Actually,
well, guys, before.
Oh, Brandon's here.
Before we go
up?
tonight, I'm sorry. I'm interrupting the end of the show, but before we go, we have a small sneak peek for people who are not yet patrons. Okay, I thought I would give a little tiny peek. If you're not yet a patron, this is some of the content, just a very small sliver of the exclusive content we'll be offering on the Patreon. Let's take a quick look. Cooking with Tony.
Can I share something disgusting that just happened? Have you ever coughed up a loogie and then you're stuck looking for something to spit it into and you don't, so you got to swallow it down?
Oh,
That's another shot.
That's what the ground beef made me do
It's not
for
shot.
some reason. I have to. That's just
Oh my
disgusting.
God. Listen, the cooking with Tony. Tony, when you look at the camera with the cigarette in your mouth.
Right. I thought that was the disgusting part. Get a little ash in there.
That's
Oh,
amazing.
that's
have
for
ash.
flavor. That's for extra flavor.
I wanted to put a beater on.
Who knew that you could make a cooking video look passionate? It's like the music, it was like Eye of the Tiger kind of shit, where it was like he's in the moment, he's dicing the jalapenos, and the music's all intense, and then he looks over to you with the cigarette. It's just like, if that doesn't encompass spending time with Tony, nothing else will.
So, boys, to wrap it up.
If for those of you,
Go ahead.
I just wanted to say, for those of you who are listening to the podcast, listen, I just want to say, if you're listening only, to the audio, go check out the video, the little snippet that we just showed. Go to YouTube, look at 4 Shot Show with Tony and Jeremy. Come to the Facebook page, look at that little clip, and then decide if you don't want to spend at least $5 a month to get some of that sweet content.
That sweet lovin'. That sweet meat
Sweet
lovin'.
content.
Uh,
Well, boys, go ahead, Jeremy. You got something.
No, I was just going to say you and I didn't share, but like how to find us, I was going to say for me, it's California Hillbilly. And Saturday mornings, if you are waking up in the morning, it's 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, so 12 Eastern. Grab a cigar. Come on, I have a Zoom. You can see my link on Insta. I do it every Saturday, and it's just a hangout to smoke cigars and do exactly what we're doing here. Just hang out and get to know each other. And like we're getting people from all over the world. Razvan, who's one of our dedicated fans and friends now, joins us from the other side from Romania. And like, dude, we just have a good time. So if you wake up and you're like, man, I want to smoke a cigar, or man, I want some company, come on Saturday morning, jump in the Zoom, and we just smoke. There's no agenda. Nothing's recorded. Nothing's live. Just hanging out. So I invite you all to please join on that. And then
What
Tony,
time is that?
9 a.m. Oh, so 9 a.m. Pacific Standard. So noon, your guys' time,
Yeah,
Eastern. And yeah, Charles, if you're around and you want to smoke a cigar, please join. It's a ton of fun.
For sure.
So, guys, our patrons are going to get a link to the after show, and my friends below me can stay if they want.
If you want, we're allowing you
If
to.
you want. We're going to stay for about 30 minutes and have the after show. More shots and more drunkenness. And you can sign up at patreon.com/4shots. You can also follow us at 4 Shots Show on YouTube, Facebook, and then download us. Ooh, download us. I like that. Download.
Download. Hey, FYI, I am 3 weeks winning for the worst of the week. I have hit it every time. Nelly won this week, and Tony, you're losing. I'm winning.
I know. I'm losing because I'm outside the box.
I say you're just losing. I don't care what your reasoning is. I'm winning. I'm going to win a trophy that I'm going to make myself.
I'll make you a trophy. I will get you a trophy.
If you make it a baby Bellotto,
Jesus Christ, that's a 2-for-1. Tony and fucking Jeremy. Fuck, pretty fucking Tony. Baby Bellotto. There's nothing fucking pretty about you, Tony. You fucking worm, you. Baby Bellotto. Can you wipe your own ass yet? Baby Bellotto? You fucking... You got a bad smell because you got a bad fucking diet. Jeremy, you're always walking around taking your fucking clothes off when you're drunk. Listen, no one wants to see you nude when you're not drunk. No one wants to see you nude when you are drunk. Okay, maybe go to a meeting, get some fucking help. The two of yous, okay? You're all fucked up. You two degenerate, fucking low-life, miserable motherfuckers. I mean, it's like for two people to accomplish so little in their fucking life at this point. You're proud of that shit, Jeremy? Huh? When you look in the mirror, are you fucking proud that you possibly have walked around naked drunk? No one wants to see what Jeremy has cooking. No one wants to see what fucking baby Bellotto has cooking, you fucks. Listen, the two of yous, okay? Go do a fucking shot, okay? Of water. You don't need any more alcohol. What are you going to drink? And you're going to get fucking naked and then do what? Go play pool somewhere? In some shithole bar? Drinking cheap fucking vodka? You fucking worms, you.